Well, this summer for me was supposed to be about test riding as many bikes as I could before I made a decision on which one to buy next. And as always, my impulsiveness got the better of me, and instead I just went ahead and bought a Honda CL500 without even having had a test ridden one. So this is my kind of first impressions-ish early on owner's review. I've probably done a couple of 100 miles so far on the bike, enough to start talking about it and tell you my thoughts and feelings about it. So hang about and we'll get that done. Alright, so I'm not going to bore you with all the tech specs on the bike. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video you've probably already done that. The very basics for anyone who hasn't done that. It's a 500 twin that's in the CB500 range, that's in the Rebel, tried and tested 500cc unit, super reliable, super efficient, great power delivery from a 500 twin. It's kind of the perfect engine to put in an all-rounder kind of bike, which for me this is exactly what this is. It's exactly what the CBs are. They're just good solid all-rounders, bikes that can really do it all. And when I say do it all, I don't mean do it all perfectly and do it all brilliantly, but they can do it all well enough to make them worth buying, especially for somebody who needs one bike to do a lot of stuff. Somebody who can only have one bike, maybe somebody who's using a bike as a primary mode of transport, a commuter that they also want to get out on the weekends, that kind of thing. In terms of the weight delivered as power, I think it's fantastic. It lacks a little bit of character compared to something like the Enfields. You know, if you're looking for that kind of plodding along, chugging about kind of character, this wouldn't be the one to go for. But it's not that it's completely void of character, because at the end of the day it's still a twin, so it has still got that kind of vibey nature. Although it's a very, very smooth twin, it's not as smooth as an inline 4. You can still feel it through the bars and the pegs when you get the power on, so that adds a little bit of character. But it does deliver its power really well, especially the setup with the CL500, which is tuned for more low down torque and has got an extra tooth on the rear sprocket to just give it a bit of a kind of nippier acceleration. And I actually can feel the difference between this and the CB500 that I used to own. I can certainly feel the difference in power between this and something like the Interceptor, where I guess there's a weight aspect coming into play there. The Interceptor's a bit heavier than this, but also the tuning as well. This feels like a much quicker, nippier little bike than the Interceptor did. It's not got the retro charm of the Interceptor. In fact, it's far more modern in its approach, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So continuing on with describing the bike, and they're trying not to be too technical. Single disc up front, which a lot of folk might complain about. If you look at the CB500X, they recently added twin discs up front to that bike. I'm not sure I understand why, because if I grab the front brake right now, you'll see hundreds of stopping power on this front brake. I wish I could say the same about the rear brake. I am somebody who uses the rear brake massively on my bikes. I tend to think that front is for stopping, rear is for slowing and control. The rear brake on this has little to no feel, and you really have to stomp on it to get it to do anything. Low speed control, it's okay, it's fine, you get used to it. I'm fine with it now. But I've started using the combination with the front brake and the rear brake almost always since I started riding this bike, because it really, like I say, the rear brake really is somewhat lacking. The suspension's soft. I haven't touched it yet, although I do think it's one click away from being maxed out anyway, because I think the previous owner had that cranked up a little bit anyway. It is soft. It handles fairly well I would say if you're in the market for something that's got super sharp handling, out of the box this isn't going to do it. You're probably going to want to look at upgrading the suspension. However, for the type of riding that I do, which is kind of moderate to fast, I guess would be how I describe it, it handles fine. It certainly is not a bad handling bike by any means, and I've ridden bikes that handled far worse. And I've been riding it fairly quick, and it's been putting up with it. The rear end starts to jump around a little bit if you've got anything other than a perfectly smooth road. But I quite like that, it makes it fun. When you're riding it fast, you know you're riding it fast. You know, that's what I love about bikes at this end of the power segment. You know, it's not like, and I can only speak from ownership experience of my Tiger 1200, it's not like that bike where you can get on it and before you know it you're doing triple digits and you didn't even realise. When you're riding a bike like this, you absolutely know that you're going fast, and it feels fun for that reason, and you don't have to be going that fast for it to feel fun. You can certainly feel the lack of refinement. If you loved everything else about the bike other than the suspension, then go and spend a few £100 on a suspension upgrade and you'd have a bike that you absolutely loved all round. I wouldn't spend money upgrading the suspension on this. I think it's fine. Gearbox, we haven't talked about that. Typical Honda stuff. Sharp, slick. It's like the snick of Wolverine's claws when he pops them out. Snick. It's just a really positive feeling gearbox. Clutch action, unbelievably light. Like one finger operation. It's just unbelievable how light that is. And it's a slipper clutch. So, you know, for new riders, a feature that's going to help them out a lot as they're coming down the gears and they haven't learned how to rev match on the downshifts yet. Ergonomics, this is a super comfortable riding position. I've got the standard seat on mine. I do not know why anyone would upgrade to the taller comfort seat. From what I've seen, it's not that comfortable. It is taller, it does add a bit of cushion, but people complain about the comfort on that seat. I mean, I've been riding this now for what, 3 hours today, and my arse is fine. And I had a shattered tailbone a couple of years ago, and I struggle. But this, because of the riding position in this, there's almost no weight on my tailbone. You're very, very slightly canted forward, very slightly, not sports bike stuff, not even naked bike stuff. It's just enough that you're kind of sitting like this as opposed to like that, and it makes a huge difference to me. So I'm really comfortable. Legs super comfortable. I am 5'11" and a bit, just under 6 feet. My inside leg is shorter though. I've got a long back and short legs, so I think I've got like a 30-31 inside leg. But the angle is perfectly comfortable. Mirrors, I mean, everyone talks about mirrors. All I can see is my shoulders, all I can see is my elbows. I've never found a pair of mirrors that I couldn't adjust to be perfect. These are the same. No vibes through the mirrors at high speeds that I'm aware of. No more than normal anyway. They provide a really good view. I think they're good looking mirrors actually. Now the styling on this bike is something that, I mean, styling is always subjective. This one really seems to divide opinions. I absolutely love it. I don't understand why it gets such shade thrown at it. Some people are really, really mean and nasty about this bike. The first time I saw it, I did think it looked a bit funky. I thought it's an interesting choice. The way they've very much tried to create something that is almost completely modern in its styling, but has those cues from retro style bikes. At least I think that's what they were going for. It's not like the Royal Enfield Interceptor, or any of the Royal Enfield models for that matter. I mean, they dominate that retro classic bike look. It's nothing like that, right? This is in every way styled quite modern. Nothing's retro about it, but it does have all those vibes from the old Honda CLs, the high level exhaust and the tank pads and the round headlight, fork gaiters, the flat kind of ish scrambler style seat. I think what they were going for was the opposite of Royal Enfield, where they take a bike that looks completely retro and they give it some modern technology and they give it modern reliability. I think Honda were doing the opposite. Let's take a bike that is entirely a modern bike and just give it some retro cues. I think it works. I love it. So from where I am, it's got a lovely kind of bassy, barbly note. Sounds great when it's under load. What I would say is, sounds kind of crap when you just rev it. We'll talk about fuel efficiency. Fuel efficiency, you can see it there. If I lean forward, it is reading 83.6 miles per gallon. I can't validate that, but I am going to trust it. Let's say give or take 10% for accuracy. So if it's 83 and we give or take 10%, it might be about 75 real world actual. That is, in my books, pretty good fuel economy. Weirdly, better fuel economy than I was achieving riding my dad's Royal Enfield Himalayan for a little while there. I had kind of manually calculated that to be about 60, and that's a 400 single. Granted, I was probably gunning that bike a lot more, trying to make the most of the power that it has, because it doesn't have much. But I haven't been riding this slow, and it's telling me I'm averaging 83.6. And I, you know, as I say, I've not been riding it slow. I've been gunning it around. I deliberately bought a used bike that had had its first service and was run in, so that I didn't have to baby it too much, because I'm not a fan of babying bikes. Motorbikes are meant to be ridden quick, in my opinion. They don't have to be fast, but I think you should ride them as fast as you can. Well, within limits. That's why I buy slower bikes. I ride them as fast as I can and not do anything too crazy. I don't know what else you really want to know. I mean, I wanted to put this video out there. I'm still trying to build this channel, and if doing a little review like this helps to bring some people to the channel, then great, fantastic. And certainly if people are looking at the CL500 and considering becoming an owner in the future, if you want to go ahead and like and subscribe to me, I am an owner, so I'll be doing videos on this bike, and you've got one too, and we can be friends, right? That's how this works. So call that a review, I guess. Something like a review, just the ramblings of a middle-aged man. I'm going to end the video on this road here because it's a lovely little twisty piece of road, and just enjoy the ride. If you're riding, ride safe, and until the next one, take it easy.